So, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're going to dive into something that is incredibly relatable, but let's be honest, we rarely admit it out loud. We're talking about the absolutely crushing weight of avoiding our responsibilities. Listen, we've all been there, right? You're staring down this totally daunting task, you're feeling completely overwhelmed, and secretly you're just silently wishing that someone else would swoop in, take the reins, and handle the whole thing for you. It's a really heavy, uncomfortable feeling, but understanding exactly where that urge comes from, and more importantly, how to finally break free from it, well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack today.
Okay, let's dive into this. Someone will surely help me. It's such a quiet, insidious little thought, isn't it? But as our source material so beautifully points out, hoping someone else is going to magically fix our problems almost never stems from malice. It's not laziness, and it's definitely not some intentional desire to be a burden on other people. It actually comes from a deep, hardwired desire for safety. I mean, think about it. When we were kids, adults constantly swooped in to rescue us whenever things got too heavy or complicated. Our developing brains basically recorded those rescues as a perfectly safe, 100% viable survival strategy. So naturally, when life gets overwhelming now, our minds just drift right back to that familiar, cozy safety net.
All right, so let's get into section 1, the reality of reliance. Here's the real challenge, though. Our brain's fond, comforting memory of being rescued violently clashes with the actual harsh realities of adulthood. In the adult world, there isn't always a savior waiting in the wings to notice we're struggling. When we operate on that childhood assumption that help is just automatically on the way, our problems don't just hit pause. Actually, scratch that. They don't pause at all. They quietly pile up. So it's absolutely crucial to understand the boundary between relying on someone and just straight up escaping. Relying on someone, that means consulting them, asking for advice, collaborating. That is incredibly healthy. It builds relationships, it fosters teamwork. But escaping, that's when we completely abandon our responsibility and just subtly dump the whole shebang onto someone else's plate. And the tricky part is how often we lie to ourselves. We say, oh, I'm just relying on my team, or I'm just asking for a little help, when in reality, we are literally running away. We've effectively handed over the steering wheel of our own lives.
Which brings us to Section 2, what awaits after escaping.
So what happens when we look the other way and dodge a responsibility? Well, first you get this fleeting, intoxicating moment of relief. It feels amazing for a second. But what are we actually trading for that brief moment of peace? The answer is a heavy, inescapable toll on our mental health. You ignore the problem, and you get that fake relief. But here's the thing, a task ignored is not a task destroyed. It mutates. It transforms into this massive, unmanageable block of anxiety. Before you know it, that growing dread literally starts invading your quietest moments. You're just trying to enjoy a nice dinner, or you're laying in bed trying to get to sleep, and boom, suddenly the thought of that looming disaster is flashing in your mind. Ultimately, the emotional cost of running away ends up being vastly more exhausting than the effort it would have taken to just, do the work in the first place.
Moving on to Section 3, payback and cleaning up. Because eventually, time runs out. The delayed crisis explodes, and the universe essentially demands its payback. You can only outrun a neglected responsibility for so long before it catches up to you. And let's be real, it's usually at the most inconvenient, stressful time imaginable. This is the moment of reckoning. And the harsh truth is, the aftermath can only be cleaned up by you. When that illusion completely shatters and nobody comes to save the day, all those tasks you tried to outsource land right back in your lap. Taking back that responsibility, yeah, it's heavy. It usually comes with this burning sense of shame and regret. But alongside that shame comes a really strange, powerful sense of clarity, because it's the ultimate proof that we just cannot hand the duties of our own lives over to other people forever. We have to be the authors of our own cleanup.
I want you to really absorb this concept from the source material. Accepting the reality is the entrance to change. Dropping the excuses is agonizing. Looking squarely at our own weakness, acknowledging our tendency to run away, facing our failures head on, it hurts. It is incredibly uncomfortable. But this painful honesty is the absolute prerequisite for any genuine personal transformation. I mean, you can't fix a problem you flat out refuse to acknowledge, right? Accepting your flaws and your messes is quite literally the only doorway to outgrowing them.
Let's get into Section 4, accepting your panicking self.
So when a crisis finally hits, many of us feel this intense guilt because we don't handle it with stoic, cool-headed perfection. We totally freak out, our hearts are racing, and then of course we hate ourselves for freaking out. But there's this brilliant metaphor I love, the panicked chick. This is your true, unpolished self when facing a crisis. You're flustered, you're imperfect, maybe your mind goes completely blank for a minute. You're literally running around like a tiny chick in a total panic. But guess what? Losing your mind and getting flustered is not a sign of weakness. It is absolute proof that you are finally taking the problem seriously. You're no longer running away, you are in the arena. You're reacting intensely because you actually care, and you are finally facing reality. See, we put this absolutely unbearable pressure on ourselves to be this composed, calm adult who handles everything flawlessly without even breaking a sweat. But holding on to that fake, composed persona is exhausting. It's actually what makes us want to run away in the first place. When you finally shed that expectation and just allow yourself to be the honest, messy, panicked chick, the self-hatred just instantly melts away. You start to realize that true self-acceptance isn't about achieving perfection. It's about looking at your flustered, imperfect self and saying, hey, I am doing the best I can right now, and that is enough.
And that leads us perfectly into Section 5, Small Steps, Letting Go. Once you actually accept your panicked self, you unlock this incredible cathartic release. You can finally start taking action completely free from the paralyzing burden of trying to do everything perfectly. If you find yourself stuck, these are the mindset shifts you absolutely need to start moving. Number 1, do not seek perfection. Number 2, allow yourself to fail. And number 3, work within your current limits. Remember, aiming for a flawless outcome is exactly what makes us freeze up to begin with. It's the whole reason we want someone else to do it, because we're terrified we won't get it right. The very moment you give yourself permission to do a messy, terrible job, the paralysis breaks. You can finally just start.
And this mindset shift builds into a really practical, actionable process. Step 1, start incredibly small. Step 2, accept the messy result. Step 3, praise yourself for the effort. It literally is that simple. A tiny, clumsy success, like sending a poorly worded email, writing a terrible first draft, or just spending 5 minutes cleaning a room, beats avoidance every single time. It builds real, undeniable confidence. You are proving to yourself that you don't need a rescuer because you are entirely capable of stepping up, even if you wobble a little bit while you're doing it.
So here is my question for you. What small, messy first step will your inner panicked chick take today? Seriously, stop waiting for someone else to step in and save the day. And definitely stop punishing yourself for not being perfectly calm and composed all the time. Embrace the panic, accept the mess, and challenge yourself to tackle just one small thing today. You've totally got this. Thanks so much for exploring this topic with me, and I will catch you in the next explainer.